Hey guys, and welcome back to my YouTube channel, and today's video is mine and Heidi's 4-month postpartum update and an update on how she's doing now that she's 4 months old. It is insane. I think I start every monthly video saying the same thing, but this time has gone so quickly, and I think the difference that she's had now between 3 months and 4 months is so big that I do want to dive straight into this video. But I swear to God, if pregnancy went as quickly as these first 4 months have gone, then I think it would have been so much easier. But like I said, there are so many different points to talk about, both about Heidi and me, so I'm going to jump straight into it. So the first thing I want to touch on is the dreaded 4-month sleep regression. Now, touch wood, she's not had it at night, as you know, and I've mentioned in several other videos that she does sleep through the night, so we are so blessed with a sleeping baby. I know that we are so lucky. But I was getting really worried about everyone talking about the 4-month sleep regression and almost like make the most of it because it won't last, she'll hit this milestone and she won't sleep through. We have noticed that in the daytime she fights her sleep a lot. We had a phase where she was actually only sleeping for about an hour every day within the day, and that's probably between a 8 AM to 9 PM time slot. She only fell asleep for an hour. Every time she began drifting off, she would cry or she would scream and just really fight the sleep, which, as you can probably imagine, is quite difficult, especially when you're used to getting a bit more done around the house because she actually was napping. And when she would be down for a nap, it's like a golden hour, you manage to get so much done. But she was fighting the sleep a lot, and it wasn't like an hour segment either. She'd fall asleep for like 10 minutes there, 20 minutes there, but as soon as she realised that she was asleep and could wake herself up, she did. So that was really difficult, and I would say that that was probably the sleep regression that we've experienced. I don't know whether we're going to get anything later on, and of course in my monthly updates I'll continue to update you if that does change. Fingers crossed it doesn't, but this whole month she's slept through the night. We've not had one instant where she has woken up in the middle of the night, so that's really good. The sleeping in the day, if anything, makes her more tired of a night, and she does just clock out. But we definitely experienced the fighting of the sleep in the day. So I just wanted to let you know that it's not necessarily always up in the night all the time. That wasn't our experience. It might be yours, unfortunately, but thankfully it's not been too bad. I think the weirdest thing about hitting the 4-month mark is that you will have reached your anniversary of finding out you were pregnant. And for me, that was such a weird moment, and it made me realise how much I cherished the last year, even in the worst days of pregnancy and even in the best days. Because you think how much happens in a year. Now suddenly we have a 4-month-old, or leading up to a 4-month-old, and a year ago you found out you were pregnant, and it was really crazy. If you watch my pregnancy test reaction video I did film when I took a pregnancy test, just because Rich wasn't here and I felt like I needed to talk to someone, and that someone was you guys. So that video is on my channel if you wanted to watch that. It is so funny even looking back, and I just think what I would do to re-experience that, if you know what I mean. Like, it was so magical. But it was really weird hitting that milestone, and for me as well, if you didn't know, that was on April Fool's Day. So April the 1st is when I found out I was pregnant last year, so hitting that this year was really weird. But it's also like really bittersweet in the same respect, because obviously she's here, she's healthy, she's happy, and that is the most important thing. But back then you just worry so much, but you get so excited, but you're so nervous and you don't know what life's going to be like. And now she's here and she's an absolute joy. So it was really weird hitting that day though, and I didn't think I'd be like as affected or as emotional by it as I was. So yeah, that was really weird hitting that day again this year, and thankfully no more positive pregnancy tests. So I mentioned in my 3-month update that I'm going to begin weaning off pumping, because I'm exclusively pumping at the moment, and I have began to do that, but very slowly. It's a very slow process. You can't just stop pumping overnight, especially if you've established such a good milk supply like what I had. I was very lucky that I did produce a lot of milk, and I still am too. But with that, we are trying to get her used to like a bottle a day of formula. So it is only 1 bottle, so she has like the majority of breast milk still, so she's getting all of those good nutritions. But we are trying to wean her over, because that's my decision. And we were using Cow and Gate, and we found that she's been getting a little bit constipated from that. Now we don't know whether that's because since she was born, she's had like a handful of formula bottles. Only in the very initial stages when we were establishing my milk supply did she have the odd bottle of formula so that we could be ahead, because obviously in those early days you do produce very, very little. But we have been giving her Cow and Gate, and we found that she's been getting constipated, but that might be because it's a slight change of diet and her body's not used to it and it's thinking, hang on a minute, what's going on here? Or it's the formula itself. So I have like the tub of formula still using, so I'm not gonna waste that. I'm gonna continue using that and see whether it is her stomach reacting to the formula or whether it's reacting to Cow and Gate formula. So if you have any experience using Cow and Gate formula, or you've had to make the change because of constipation, do let me know. But if that doesn't work, I think we're going to try Aptamil next. But so far we are just using that one, and I mean, I think it seems to be getting better, but I don't know whether that's like me thinking it is, I don't know. So let me know if you've had that same experience too. But yeah, it has been wild, and like I'll talk about my pumping, like how I feel about that in like my section towards the end of this video. But it has been weird doing that, but I think she is beginning to get a bit more used to it. I just don't really know. Within her 4 months as well, leading up to her 4-month update, she has started teething. Now I've written down the symptoms that we've experienced so far, because sometimes things can be mistaken for teething, but we've had all of these things, which I think contributes to the fact that she is teething. No teeth have come through yet, but I think everything's moving around a little bit. So she's had really red flushed cheeks, which were really warm to the touch. She was dribbling and drooling a lot. She's chewing on her hands a lot. She was a lot more inconsistent with her feedings, where before she'd always be quite routine with it and she'd finish the bottle and then be okay, whereas now like she would want to stop and then she would want to start again. It's been a bit more cluster feeding instead of like more routine. She's also wanted more comfort more regularly, whether that's cuddles or the bottle. She doesn't take the dummies or anything like that, so her only comfort really is having a bottle, and that'll kind of zone her out. And like I mentioned, irritable day sleeping as well, so she isn't always constantly sleeping like she did. I don't know whether when she wakes up and like she starts to cry, whether it's like a pain that's waking her up. It's really difficult, and I wish that babies could communicate and let you know what's going on so that you know what to do. But I think all of those different symptoms kind of added up together give us a clear indication that teething is starting. And from like then when it first started to now, she's dribbling so much more and chewing on her hands a lot more, and it's been really consistent too. So it's not like just like a couple of days she's had like that symptom like all together, and it has continued as well. So I'm keeping an eye on it. We do have teething gel as well, and we're just going to see what happens with that. And again, I'll obviously let you guys know as and when teeth do pop through. It's going to be really weird when she has like little teeth as well. I think that's going to be really weird. And like someone at our baby sensory class that is a few days younger than Heidi already has her bottom 2 teeth cut through. So who knows? I mean, every baby is different. Some babies don't even teeth until like really late on, some do really early. So who knows what's going to happen with that, but I'm going to keep an eye on it, of course. This month, she outgrew her Moses basket. I think she was about 3.5 months when she actually outgrew it. I could just tell that she's getting a bit more cramped in there. I mean, she is quite a big girl. She was born 9'3", so she's always been quite big, but she has like obviously grown and grown and grown ever since. And the Moses basket is quite small. I mean, it is a lot smaller than obviously like a cot and a crib. And I thought that I'd have it for at least the first 6 months, and I thought that that would be okay, and she outgrew it pretty much in half the time. So we've stopped using that, and my mum's friend kindly gave my mum a travel cot for when Heidi stays down there. I asked my mum to borrow that because I thought, obviously I'm not ready to put Heidi in her own room yet, but I didn't want to fork out on a crib for her to be in for like 2.5 months if we put her in our own room at 6 months. So I was looking at all the different options, and I just thought, why don't I try the travel cot in my bedroom? If she doesn't like it, we know that she doesn't like it. If she does like it and she sleeps fine, then we've saved ourselves some money. And so I tried it, and she actually loves it. Like, she starfishes out and she just has the time of her life in it. Like, I think she finds it a lot more comfortable. It's got a better mattress as well, because the Moses basket one was only ever small, which was perfect for when she was first born, because we could actually transport the Moses basket around the house, and it made it a lot easier for us. But now, because she is so much bigger, we wouldn't do that anyway. And the travel cot, the the space that we have between our bed and then my side of the wall is literally enough for it to slot in, so that's very lucky. But yeah, she sleeps through that absolutely perfectly. And now we know for the next time that we'll just get like a crib, probably like a Chico next to me crib or something like that, that she can sleep in, or our next one will sleep in. Keep referring to my next one as her just because I have a daughter, and now I know to get something like that. But I think when you're a first time mum, you don't really know what the best thing to do is, and I didn't even realise that Moses baskets won't last that long, so now I know, and we're going to just sell that one this time around and then just put it towards something else for the next time. But the travel cot is perfect. I feel like it's going from like a single bed to like a king size for her. She absolutely loves it, which is brilliant. So in terms of development wise, I really want to mention the fact that her like hand coordination has come leaps and bounds this month. So if you put like a toy in front of her, she'll start to put like her hands together towards it. She'll even hold it. Like in baby sensory class, they'll have like bells and rattles and things like that to really stimulate them, and she will grab hold of it. She doesn't quite know what she's doing with it, but she will hold on to it and she'll have it in her hand, and she's starting to learn kind of the coordination with her hands, which is amazing. And from when she started doing that to now, it's only like grown and grown, and she's getting so much more coordinated, which is amazing. And she's really loving all different colours of like toys, and she's just really like fascinated in textures. And I think that that's so good because you're beginning to see them actually become like a little person as opposed to just a sleeping baby. And yeah, it's really, really cute. And I just love the fact that she's beginning to engage with things. Like with my fingers, she'll purposely grab them and try and eat them. When we were at my friend's baby shower, she was holding onto people's fingers and trying to eat them, which is rude. You can't go around eating people's fingers, but somehow it's okay for babies. And yeah, she's just getting really, really good, and you can just tell that she's really, really engaged with everything. Her eyes are darted all over the place. She's just so fascinated with everything, and she's still so happy as well. So if you give her like a toy or like a teething thing, trying to encourage that, she won't actually like bite on anything really. She kind of puts it to her mouth, but she won't like put it in her mouth and experiment like with textures in her mouth, but she does with her hands. So I think that that's going to come next with kind of putting things in their hands to then in their mouth. So she's got a long way to go for it to be perfect, but I've definitely seen that that's really, really grown in the past month, and it's just so cute. And I think that when you see all these like little baby steps, you just think, oh my god, it's just like the cutest. The last point for Heidi's development is her head control really is amazing. I think that next month she's going to be sitting. She's really, really strong and really has been from birth. I remember the midwife in our first couple of like appointments when she came over was like, she's got a really, really strong head. And so with that, she is really, really holding it up. We do a lot of tummy time. We do a lot of things that like encourage her to hold her head up. So it's not that she's just like naturally done it. We have really kind of trained her into having her head up and exploring with that, but she loves tummy time, and it's just so good to watch again, because they were just like a lying sleeping baby before with a really soft head, and you had to be very careful, whereas now she's just like bobbing all over the place. And with her head control being so good, if she sees something that interests her on the other side of the room, she's like up and looking, and she's just really active in herself. Like her hands are really active, her head's really active, and I feel like it won't be long until she's moving because everything is a bit more kind of movie. But yeah, it's so cute, isn't it? I just think that when they start developing these characteristics, it's so nice because you're beginning to see what kind of baby they're going to become later down the line. But it still feels like yesterday when she was so small and tiny, and what I'd do to go back just one day and just like have newborn cuddles, because she just doesn't like to cuddle me anymore like she used to. And I'm just pleased that I really relished those days, but it's just crazy how quickly that just goes, and suddenly you don't have a newborn, you have like a proper baby. So now on to how I've been doing 4 months postpartum. There's only a few points here, so don't worry, this video is not going to be much longer. I know that these updates are normally quite long in terms of video length, so I'm sorry, but thank you so much for hanging on with me. The first thing that I experienced this month that I never experienced before was mastitis. So that is kind of like an an infection type of thing when you are breastfeeding, that you can get mastitis, and it is so painful. I remember my midwife telling me about it. Luckily I never had it at the beginning, because I feel like that might have actually put me off. But I had it this month, and I think it might be because I'm beginning to like try to wean off a little bit, that my body's like, no, I'm not emptying my body as much as I used to, so I'm getting quite inflamed. And I had this red patch on my boob that was so tender and so sore, and it just really hurt, and it hurt when I pumped, and it was just generally painful kind of all day long. And it was definitely mastitis, because I remember the midwife telling me that it was really common at the beginning, and it just hurt so much. And yeah, it wasn't pleasant, and I didn't really think that I would get it, but now I've had it, I just feel so sorry for people that have it often. I've only had it like, I think twice in the past month, but even those 2 times it has been really uncomfortable. So I've just managed that with, I think, paracetamol or ibuprofen, and it has gone down in like a day or 2. But when you pump with the mastitis, oh, it's so painful. I remember someone just saying that if you hand express around that area, it's a lot more gentle, and hopefully you'll basically like massage any like blocked ducts out basically. So that seemed to work fine with me, but it wasn't pleasant at all. And I want to touch on mum guilt, and I feel like everyone talks about mum guilt in one aspect or another, but I feel like especially when it comes to feeding, it is so prominent. I of course always wanted to try to breastfeed Heidi, and she never latched on. That's why I went down the pumping route. But now I've decided that it's just really too difficult to be doing that every 3 hours, and I'm beginning to kind of drag the time out in between to begin to either get into a routine where it is better, or to just stop doing it altogether. I feel guilty all of the time. I feel like I'm not doing the best thing for her. I feel like I'm letting her down by not doing it. But what's really difficult, and the reason that I'm stopping or want to stop, is that she's just not content being put down anymore, even if it is for like 20 minutes whilst I pump and sort myself out. And so with that, she gets really frustrated and really uncomfortable and really irritable. And that affects my milk supply anyway, because I'm like worried for her. She's getting frustrated, I get frustrated. But also, like, I just don't feel like that's nice to do to her every 3 hours. So I feel really guilty for not doing it. If I had someone else in the house helping me out of a day and a night, then absolutely I would carry on, because I love the fact that I am providing the best food for her. But realistically, I just can't keep doing it because it is just too much. But I've just felt so guilty, and even when I talk about trying to like stop, or I'll talk to Rich about like putting a plan together, because I explained that it was such a long-winded process, that it takes a few months to properly wean yourself off if you do it gradually, that I just feel so guilty. And I feel guilty about so many things, whether I don't go out for the day, whether I'm not playing with her enough, whether if I'm comparing her to like another baby that I know, and I feel like she might not be doing that and they're doing that. It's so easy to get in that like mum guilt loophole, and I've really tried not to feel that in any other aspect, because I just feel like as long as you're happy, your baby should be happy, and that's the main thing. But I just feel like when it comes to feeding, it's just so hard not to feel guilty. And so yeah, I mean, it's not really anything that anyone else has said to me either. It's just the way that I feel internally, and my connection to her, wanting her to of course have the best thing. But it's just been really difficult, and having to be realistic about that, which is why we're doing a bottle of formula a day. So yeah, that's been really difficult, and I feel like I've got upset a few times just because I feel like I'm just letting her down. And yeah, it's really hard, and at the end of the day, you have to do what works best for you. I'm here on my own Monday to Friday, day and night, because Rich works night, he sleeps in the day, so we only ever have about 3 hours with him per day, in between when he like wakes up and goes to sleep. So it's just really hard, but I've just really experienced mum guilt quite a lot. So that's it for our 4-month update. I really hope that you've enjoyed this video. Don't forget to give it a big thumbs up, and don't forget to subscribe down below. It's crazy, I think I saw like a statistic on my like YouTube thing that like 98% of people that watch my videos aren't subscribed, which is crazy. So if you do watch these videos but you aren't subscribed, please consider hitting that subscribe button down below. It really does help me out so much, and I'd love to have you part of the family, and if you hit the bell as well, you'll be notified when I upload new videos. But that's it from me today, and I'll see you guys in my next video. Bye guys.